Hey guys, so this week is going to be a little shorter, only because we are going to be covering week 5 and week 4 next week. We're not going to be going live today, so obviously you guys already had your quiz, so we'll be covering week 4 and week 5 next week. All right, ethics of business. Okay, so basically what this is talking about is a system of moral and ethical beliefs that guides the values, behaviors, and decisions of a business organization, and the individuals within that organization is known as business ethics. Okay, so it's just the morals and beliefs of the values, behaviors, and decisions of an organization. Okay, and with the people within the organization. Okay, some ethical requirements for businesses are codified into law, environmental regulations, minimum wage. Um, we were talking about minimum wage before. Restrictions against insider trading and collusion are all examples of government setting forth minimum standards for business ethics. What qualifies as business ethics in history has changed over time, and different areas of ethics are important to every business. Okay, so basically what this is saying is you're there's there's a bunch of rules and regulations, procedures that companies have to follow in order to meet an ethical standard. For example, I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie The Wolf of Wall Street. Basically, what the guy was doing was what they were doing where they were doing pump and dumps, right? They were pumping up a stock price and then selling it and then having people lose a ton of money, right? Same thing what's going on with GameStop right now, right? We have a lot of people who are manipulating the market by purchasing a lot, right? Let's see what GameStop price is at right now. GME, $240, right? Let's see. Last month it went from trading at on January 5th it was trading at $17. And when all these hedge fund capitals started started short selling it, all these people on Reddit, all these millions of users on this Reddit post started buying the stock. And when they started buying the stock, the market price just started going up to $347. Now it's back down to $241. But imagine the people who bought in at 17 and all that, they're all making so much goddamn money. Anyways, ethically, um, businesses are not supposed to be doing insider trading. So, if a company knows that if company A is going to merge with company B, and before the stuff goes public, before the news goes public, someone goes and buys the shares because they were told about it. That's called insider trading because they're getting paid for insider knowledge, right? And you're not allowed to do that with trading. Ethics and leadership. So management team sets the tone on how the company runs basically from day to day. Um, if the management's philosophy is based on ethical behaviors, ethical procedures, um, then the entire organization will work in an ethical manner and it will benefit the entire organization. Um, so when you build a foundation on ethical behavior, you create long-lasting effects for the company, including ability to attract and retain highly talented individuals. Right? That's a huge issue for many companies, right? Because a lot of the talent and the skilled workers want to go work at reputable companies. They don't want to work at a company that's not reputable and doesn't know how to handle their business, and they're deceitful and they're not ethical. So you really need to have um, you really need to in your business you have to make sure leaders need to make sure that everything is done ethically in business. You have to maintain a strong positive reputation within the community. Running a business in ethical manner from top down builds a stronger bond between individuals on the management team, further increasing stability within the company. Okay, so if you work ethically in a company, everyone works in par with each other. Everyone's basically on the same page, and it builds unity and profitability within the company. Employee ethics. So If the managers are doing their job and ethically doing everything ethically and following those procedures, then chances are that the employees are also going to do the same thing. Now, if you have a manager who's cutting corners, doing this, doing that, chances are your employees will be doing the exact same thing. Employees make better decisions in less time, and business ethics as a guiding principle. This increases productivity and overall employee morale. When employees complete work in a way that is based on honesty and integrity, the whole organization benefits. Right? If you have employees that are not cutting corners and they're doing stuff that, everything they're doing is in the correct form, in the correct manner. For example, let's just say that for my job, right? I send out bids to a bunch of big general contractors. So let's say I'm sending out all these bids and all that, and I just choose not to read the specs. The specs that they send us, I choose not to read it. And I give them what I think they should have, okay? So, I'm a professional, I think I should do it. Um, and um, and then basically what's going to happen is if I send my own specs in and just quote the way I want to quote, and they award us the contract, by the time it gets to the point where I have to manufacture the equipment, imagine they put something in there that was not what I quoted, right? And then my company has to eat the losses because what they were asking for was bigger and more expensive than what I initially gave them. So that's what employee ethics is. That's why I always have to, when I'm doing all these quotings, like guys, I do quotes. I do 10 to 15 quotes a day. These are what my quotes look like. Okay, see this? Ellis Don, University of Toronto. I'm bidding on University of Toronto. Ellis Don has another 19 Duncan, which is a big condo. What else? Ellis Don has another 2. This one is another 215 Lakeshore. I'm bidding on that. I just got this one. This one is a really good one. I just got this job. It's called Mirvish Village. Mirvish Village. And look at the amount of stuff I have to go through. Look at it, just one quote. I have to go through all these drawings, right? Look at this. So basically the reason I'm showing you this is because I can't cut corners. If I cut corners and just not go through all the specs and the drawings and I miss something, yes, fine, I get the sale, everyone's, happy and stuff, but what if the equipment I quoted was not correct, right? So I have to go through, like, I don't know if you guys can see, but these are all sales drawings, architectural drawings, blueprints. I have to go through all these blueprints and come up with a quote, and my quotes look like this. So for example, I just landed this job with Ellis Don, and Ellis Don is one of the biggest, probably the biggest contractor in Canada, general contractor. And this is Mirvish Village, so they're building an entire community, entire village of condos, so 6 condos they're building. And I got all the equipment for I think it's around $412,000, and I got all these quotes that I put together for them per building. These are all quotes per building. So if I do all this stuff wrong, if I cut corners and try to and not, because I'm too lazy or whatever, I try to cut corners by not reading the spec sheets, by not looking at the architectural drawings, the entire business takes a hit. You understand what I'm saying, guys? So that's just basic what we're saying here, employee ethics. As an employee, I got to make sure that I'm fully ethical, and I'm not trying to cheat anybody in order to get my job done. So basically, ethics vary by industry. Every industry has different types of ethics. Nature of business operations has a major influence on ethical issues. For example, ethical quandary arises from investment brokerage when the best decision for a client and their money does not coincide with what pays the brokerage the highest commission. Okay, very, very, very important. In sales, what we do is we try to push the product that pays out the highest commissions. When I used to sell cell phones, when someone came in asking for a BlackBerry Bold, that was a long time ago. That's when BlackBerry was big. BlackBerry Bold, BlackBerry, what do they have? 9910s or something. I can't remember. Anyways, people would come in and look for a BlackBerry Bold. I didn't make a lot of money on BlackBerry Bold, so I would try and sell them these LG 3D phones that were garbage. But I always try to push that on them because I made the most money off of them. That's unethically correct. I was very young. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, Obviously, all I wanted to do was make money, but ethically, you don't do that to a customer. You don't give a customer something that they don't want. You don't push them towards it, and that was something I learned after I graduated university, took ethics courses, all that stuff. Because I was selling cell phones while I was in university, so I learned all these things, and now I get to the point where I don't give clients anything that they don't want. The biggest thing about sales for me is giving people what they want and what they need. Okay. Um, a striking example of industry-specific business ethics includes energy field. Companies that produce energy, particularly non-renewable energy, face unrelenting scrutiny on how they treat the environment. One misstep, whether it is a minor coal ash spill or a major disaster, such as the Boston petroleum oil spill, BP, right? Boston petroleum oil spill, forces a company to answer numerous regulatory bodies and societies at large regarding whether it skirted its duty to protect the environment in an aggressive pursuit of higher profits. So basically, if you are a company that is into renewable resources like digging, mining, doing anything that's harming, that can potentially have harm on the environment, the ethics there are they're a lot they're come under scrutiny. They come under a lot more pressure to have their ethics committee making sure that nothing is going wrong with the business, right? So and if something does go wrong, then it's all over the news, it's everywhere and stuff like that. So companies such as Amazon and Google, which conduct most of their operations online, are not scrutinized for their environmental impact. But it really does. Those Amazon and Google really get scrutinized when it comes to protecting people's privacy. Okay, so their ethics are examined very closely when it comes to privacy, right? So a particular area in which technology companies must make tough ethical decisions is marketing, right? So when you're marketing, you're a company. If you're a marketing company, chances are you have a lot of people's data. You have a lot of information and data. Okay, in this technology era, this technology world, data is everything. If you have data, you're king. So basically, the people who are kings are Amazon, Facebook, Google, right? They have everyone's information, all their data. So basically, what they're trying to say is, when you have all that type of data, you have to be extremely careful with making sure that you don't use that data in a negative way. Okay, there's a bunch of different ways that data can be used unethically, and they have to just make sure that it's not done unethically. What are some benefits of doing ethical business? So the importance of business ethics reaches far beyond employee loyalty and morale or strength of a management team bond. As with all business initiatives, the ethical operation of the company is directly related to profitability in both the short and long term. The reputation of a company in the surrounding community, other businesses, and individual investors is paramount to determining whether a company is worthwhile investment. So, if your company is ethical and it's making money, then chances are that you will get more investments from people because you have a business that they can see as a long-term business, not something that's making quick profits and it will be short-term, and then they don't get to see a return on their money. People want to see a big return on their money, and they want some long-term businesses. Companies have more and more of an incentive to be ethical as the area of socially responsible and ethical investing keeps growing. The increasing number of investors seeking out ethically operating companies to invest in is driving more firms to take this issue more seriously. So like I said, investors, right? Increasing number of investors who are looking to seek out ethically operating companies is growing rapidly. So you have to have a business that's ethical. All right, so how do you measure ethical behavior in organizations? Okay, so how do you measure um, the basically the ethics that an organization puts forward? Okay, so let's just look at some. So research shows that an ethical corporate culture contributes to reduced business misconduct and diminished risk profiles. Okay, so ethical corporate culture leads to reduced business misconduct, which is people who, are doing things that are not supposed to be done in a business, and diminished risk profiles. So basically, there is mitigating and lowering the risks. Companies and regulators are trying to shape ethical corporate cultures in order to reduce ethical failures and increase team performance. Organizational research on ethics can be used as a powerful tool. Organizational research will help businesses understand how to take advantage of key levelers of systemic change within organizations. Sculpting an ethical corporate culture can ultimately enhance the working environment for employees while also improving the organization's bottom line. So many things that being ethical does for your business. So if you're trying to measure ethical behavior in a business, what are you measuring, right? To start off, what do you measure? So basically, number one, perceived features of the work environment. So the place, okay, things to measure. Okay, so the place, the people, and how you look to outsiders. Okay, so perceived features of the work environment. So perceived ethical culture at workplace, workplace ethical judgment and decision making, unethical behaviors, organizational justice, workplace conflict, emotional support, psychological safety, perceived politics. And then number two is traits and values of employees, right? You got to see how the people are, moral identity and trust. And three is how does your company look in the eyes of the outsider? Okay, so if you're trying to measure ethics in a business, those are the three things you got to look at: the place, you got to look at your workplace, you got to look at the people, and you got to look at your reputation. So how to measure it? Okay, so how do you measure? So direct measurement techniques. So survey, free response questions, structured interviews, formal exit interviews, guys. Direct measurement techniques. They're called direct measurement techniques. So you basically ask people in the company to fill out surveys, questionnaires, interviews, stuff like that. Indirect measurements. So indirect measurement techniques may be less vulnerable to gaming and self-presentational biases. So implicit measures such as implicit association tests, simulations, decision-making scenarios, right? Behavioral games, right? You could do something that's indirect, not asking direct questions, but do indirect questions like, do some, you can play some, you can have some team building games, stuff like that. You can see what really is going on in the company by the way that people are behaving. And then objective data. So text analysis. So example of big data sets such as all internal emails. You could start checking. It doesn't have to be required by participation by employees is not required. So you can just basically look through people's emails, their earnings, and you can look at your ratings on Glassdoor and other rating sites for businesses, right? So you can see what's going on in your business. So that's basically a few ways on how to measure your ethical standpoint in a business. All right, guys. All right, so that's the end of slides. We'll be discussing this next week. So this week, you guys watch the slides, and next week we are going to be discussing it. And hope you guys did good on the quiz. All right, see ya.